Okay, thank you for joining me for my final video on my trip to Punta Cana in the DR. I watched the Funky Dineva show yesterday to see what he was going to talk about or say as far as the trip. And so it appears that I guess maybe I'm not as bougie as I thought I was because the other girls, I guess, must have complained. He was talking about how when they were on their trip that I'm about to tell you about, that they told him he could step it up because he said that he couldn't stand all the begging. So apparently, whenever they went off the resort, there was a lot of locals who begged for money. And he said even the people that they hired, like to drive the bus and to take pictures and to do all that stuff, he said everybody was begging and it just got on his nerves. And he was like, he doesn't have time for that. And so then he was talking to his travel agent about how next time when they do a trip or an excursion that's not on a cruise, that they need to step up the resort because he said that the girls who were on the trip were saying that they got their money. And he was trying to keep it a certain price point so that people were comfortable and would be more willing to, go on the trips with him. And on our trip, it was like 45 people. And so he was like, the cruises is usually more. It's usually like 150, 250. And he said for the resort, it was only 45 people, which he kind of liked. He said it was more of an intimate environment and he got to meet us all. Like, I got to meet him twice and he hugged me and we had a conversation at one time. And so it was nice for me to actually meet somebody who's in the content creator space that I've watched for years, like I said, since the beginning of Love and Hip Hop. And so it was nice for me I didn't fan out, but like I was telling him, I was like, I don't even know what to call you. I don't know if should call you funky or cute or what. And he was like, whatever you want to you. And he was like, you can call me Miss Jackson if you're nasty. And I was like, okay, Miss Jackson. Anyway, so, like I said, it was nice and I really enjoyed that interaction with him. And I probably wouldn't have been able to have that type of one-on-one time with him if there had been more people. But he said that the girls that went on the trip that I'm about to tell you about, that they basically were like that they have their coins and that he could step it up. And I thought I was being like too elitist or bougie. I was questioning whether or not it was like American privilege. Like, I felt like it was such an inconvenience to me. Like I said, I tried to do my best as far as my Spanish because I had what, maybe 2-3 years of Spanish in high school, and I had honor Spanish, and then I had 2 years of Spanish in college. And so I haven't been able to use my Spanish in so long, I forgot a lot. And then don't mention my menopause brain. Like, after a while of me, like, soul searching and, like, what's the word? Reviewing, I guess you could say, in my mind, my time in the DR, I was like, is it American privilege? I almost felt like I was Trump because I was like, I expected them to know more English than they did. And it was frustrating to me to have to pull out my Google Translate to talk to some people sometimes. And like, there were times where I was good, like with my butler. Like, one day I told her, I said, what did I tell her? I said, sus zapatos es bonito. And she corrected me and she was like, I have to look it up to tell you what she said. But she got the gist of what I was trying to say. So I was trying to tell her that her shoes were cute. And so I know a little bit. And like, when they would ask me what my room number was, I was like, cinco dos zero tres. And so, I was able to do the thing. And so I was, trying to, also like I was also like trying to be very conversational. I tried as much as possible. I would be like, "Hola, ¿cómo estás?" You know, "Muy bonito," or "es caliente." No, I said it's muy caliente, caliente. That's it, caliente. And so, I was talking to people, trying to let them know, that I know a little bit, and I always said they would ask me, "Oh, tú habla español?" And I was like, "Un poquito," and I would be like, "Su es inglés?" And they would be like, "Oh, un poquito." I was like, okay, I get you. And so it was nice, but I felt like English, I thought, is like the I don't want to say it's the world's most common language. Like everybody typically knows English, but maybe they don't. And that was just an assumption for me being an American that everybody knows English, and everybody does not know English. And so I just felt maybe I was being too privileged and too elitist, and for a minute, like I said, I felt a little bit like Trump. I said, "Oh God," I said, "I done turned into Trump in this." I said, "That's a bad thing." And so, with that being said, I'm just saying that it made me rethink, this whole travel thing. That maybe also like my assumption that they would have an elevator. Like, that was very presumptuous of me to think that all resorts have elevators. But then when I was talking to my son, he was like, "Well, I would think that they would have an elevator too." He said, "Because of disabled people." He was like, "Aren't the hotels supposed to be disabled friendly?" And I'm thinking about it, and I was like, "Oh yeah." But then I said that's I think an American thing. I don't think that other countries necessarily care about the disabled. I don't know. Again, I haven't researched it, but yeah, in America, they're gonna have a elevator or something to accommodate those who are disabled. And I was one of those who qualified as a disabled person, where I couldn't do the third floor without an elevator. And so, and then I couldn't do the things without a golf cart. And then the fact that I had to, hire a cab that was off the property to take me to different places, so I don't know. I was like, maybe even though all my life I said I wanted to travel, when my son, got to a certain age, like my whole thing was because I had my son when I was 25, I said, I'll be done with his ass when I'm 43, and he didn't go away to college, so he stayed home. So then the fact that he's still living with me and everything, now he's older now. I do feel comfortable enough to leave him, at home or whatever. He's an adult, he's a grown man. But although don't get me into how he starved my baby Chloe. That's another story for another time. He made me mad. He did not feed my baby. Oh, and that was another thing about the DR, that there are plenty of stray cats. Like I took pictures of some kitties. They were so cute, and I was like, they're so skinny. I just want to feed them. And I was like, they reminded me of Chloe, and I kept calling my son. And I was like, how is she doing? And he was like, she misses you, because he was like, she's following me and she's snuggling with me. And I'm like, oh, she's so needy. And he was like, that's because of you. You done spoiled her. Anyway. But my point is that maybe travel isn't for me in this particular body, because this is another funny quip that my son typically does with me. Like, when I went to St. Lucia last year, I wanted to do jet skis and all that stuff. And my doctor was like, no, you can't do jet skis. And my son was like, yeah, that doctor was like, not with that body. Maybe another body you can do it, but you can't do it with your body. And so he was saying the same thing, with the ATVs. He's like, yeah, you can't do ATVs with that body. He makes me sick when he says stuff like that, but it's funny. Anyway, so with the body that I'm in, travel might not be in my future. I don't know. So it's something that I need to take into consideration when I'm making travel plans and so forth. And so I don't know. I just wanted to talk to you guys about that. But let's move on to Spa Day. Yes. So for me, it was a spa day. But for the Funky Bunch, they went on. So first of all, they got up and left at 8 a.m. And if you know Mz.ChiGurl is not a morning person. So that wasn't going to happen for me. And it was an all-day trip. They were supposed to be back from by 5, but traffic was so bad that they were gone from 8 until 8. And Mz.ChiGurl wouldn't have been able to do that. So I am so glad that I did do what I did, which is also why my hair isn't like doing what it should be doing, in my opinion. I mean, I just got my hair done last week when I went on my trip, and she's looking a little messed up, but this is because of my last minute packing. I forgot to bring a freaking comb. Now, mind you, I brought one to comb and fluff and all that stuff. I didn't bring a straight comb and I didn't bring a brush. So I wasn't able to mold my hair after I got done with the water. So anyway, let's share screens and I'm going to show you my spa day at Zentropia. The Zentropia Spa in Dominican Republic, or the Dominican, I'm doing too much, the Dominican Republic or Punta Cana at the TRS resort is the best spa that I ever went to. Oh my God. I'm just telling you, it was the best. I love this place. So the Funky Bunch, they left at 8 a.m. and they went a speedboat to a private island where they had lunch. And then they took something else to another island. And so their whole thing was boating and being on the island. And so that was nice. But like I said, the fact that it was going to be 12 hours, or in their case, it wound up being 12 hours, but they were more like a 8 to 9 hour trip. I didn't want to commit that much time to being with them that long. And so I went to the spa that the manager wound up giving me. And the first thing that the helper at the spa did was he took me to the locker rooms, and you have to wear a swimsuit, so you couldn't be naked. In some spas, they're naked, but this one, no, you couldn't be naked. You have to take your shower, and I put all my stuff in the locker, took my shower, and then he takes me to, what was it? Oh, he took me to the sauna. And so I did a 5-minute sauna, and he actually times it and everything. And he comes back and gets me, takes me to another shower, and then takes me to another room. And this room is a hot room full of eucalyptus. I can't even say it. Eucalyptus. And so at first it was like I felt like almost like I was suffocating, but it was like eventually it's like your lungs get used to it, and like my lungs filled with the eucalyptus, and that was another 5 minutes. So then he took me to the shower, and this particular shower, I felt like it was that bucket challenge. So they pull a bucket down on you, and it gets all over you. Then you get into this jet spa, and it sprays water all on you, and then you get into an actual cooling, shower. And so from there, they put you into the hot pool. And so I got into the hot pool, and it was an infinity pool, and I swam around in that. Then I went from the infinity pool, and they put you in this ice cold pool. And like, I put my feet in there, and I was like, oh, it's cold, it's cold. And he's like, go down, go down. And so I go down one more step and I'm like, oh, let's go. Go down, go down. And I do one more step. Oh, it's cold. And he's like, go down, go down. And I'm like, no, it's cold. And he's like, you have to go down. And so I keep going down one step at a time and him telling me, go down, go down. And so finally I got in there and he wanted me to put my head under there. I'm like, no, no. So I went to my neck. And so everything was covered in cold all the way to my neck, but I wouldn't put my head under there. So then from there, he takes me to this rainforest, and my son equates it to being at the grocery store, and the rain is coming down on the vegetables. But that's what it was like. So I walked through this like rainforest type of area, and the rain is coming down. And then he says this is the mud area. So they have three types of mud. And so it was a mud for inflammation, there was mud for detox, and then there was mud for something. I didn't hear what he said. And so I did the one for inflammation and covered myself in mud. And then they have like these caves where you could sit down. And so I laid in the cave and let the mud just soak in and everything. And then as soon as you get done with that mud, then you take another shower and you get clean. And then from there, you can go to that pool that I showed you. And so all the little jets and the water features that you saw in that pool, they were all massaging. So you can go there for one to massage your back. Another one was to massage your shoulders. And then there was like a seat in the water or the pool, and that was to massage your whole body. That one I absolutely loved. I did that like 3, 4 times, but it only lasts like, I'm gonna say a minute and then it cuts off. And so I got tired of pushing the button, and so eventually I got over it. But then I was just swimming from in the pool, going back and forth, floating. And it was so serene and so peaceful. And so, oh my God, that was the best spa that I've ever been to. And I enjoyed myself. And so after the spa, or the hydrotherapy, then I did a pedicure, and then I left and went to one of the restaurants. And again, I was so disappointed with the food. The food to me was just, I would say cafeteria food, but the cafeterias I ate at had better food than these places. The food was just horrible. I really did not like the food at all. And so I went to this one, it was a buffet, and the food was just all overcooked and no flavor. So I went back to my room, changed, showered, and everything. And then I checked the group chat to see where everybody was, and they were still gone. And so, long story short, I didn't get to hang with them. I was planning to hang with them. And so I actually got my outfit ready because they said they were going to be back by like 6 o'clock and that we could go to dinner again. So like each day I was basically doing dinner with the groups. But a dinner didn't work out because they were stuck in so much traffic. They didn't get home until 8. And then they went to eat at 9. By that time I was tired. I was like, I'm not going. And so I stayed in my room. I ordered room service. I got me some burgers. Not burgers, but a burger and fries and all that stuff. And I just stayed in my room that last night. And then the next morning, is where they ticked me off again. So I had my transportation all set up through the hotel, right? But apparently, I guess I was supposed to call to reserve it, but I didn't know because they sent me the freaking email in Spanish. And so I'm contacting them about a refund. No, I'm contacting them about the inconvenience I had at the airport. So I thought they were replying to that, but I didn't have time to translate it because I was like, I'm on vacation. I don't feel like reading this email and trying to translate it. Long story short, they called me at 8:30 in the morning. Mind you, my flight doesn't leave until 2 and checkout isn't until 12. So I wasn't planning to leave the resort until 11 o'clock. So they called me at 8:30, telling me that they're here to take me to the airport. And I'm like, no, I'm eating breakfast. And they were like, if I don't go with the driver then I would have to call a cab. Okay, fine, I'll call a cab. I'm not going to the airport and sit there for 5 freaking hours. So then once I finished eating breakfast and making sure that I had packed everything up, I went to check out at the resort and ordered a cab. And I left the room around 9:30. And no, it was 9. I left the room at 9, and then I'm trying to, make reservations for a cab because, they're telling me that I don't have transportation to the airport even though I paid for it already. And so, long story short, they order a cab for me and they're like, "Do you want to leave at 10 or 11?" And I'm like, "Well, damn, why I gotta leave so early? My flight isn't until 2, you know?" And I'm like, "Checkout isn't until 12." And so I was like 11, and then the busboy was like, "Well, because of traffic, you may want to go earlier." So I was like, "Fine, 10 o'clock, 10 o'clock." So then I'm sitting there and it's 9 something, and I gotta wait till 10 o'clock. So I'm having to wait an hour. And so he was like, "Do you want something to drink?" Or, and I guess that was one thing that I will say that I appreciated. One of the people in the group chat was talking about how she was drinking in the morning and not being judged, and she was like she loved that she could drink anytime and you're not judged about the drinking. And so I said, okay, I'm gonna do that shit. So I had me one last Miami Vice because I didn't get my Miami Vice the night before because I didn't hang out with the group because they didn't arrive until late. And so I had me a Miami Vice for breakfast after my breakfast, and that shit was so good. I said, "Oh my God, I should have been coming to the hotel lobby bar," because I said they made it the best. So I was going to the bar that was by my room, and I said, "Oh no, the hotel lobby bar, they had it going on." And I wanted to have a second one, but I didn't want to get drunk and then be on the no-fly list because I watched too many videos about people winding up on the no-fly list. Oh, side note, want to tell you guys about, have you heard about Southwest Airlines and the changes that they're going to make? So apparently, a reason why Southwest Airlines is changing. Well, first of all, the changes that they're making are that starting in 2026, if you can't get a seatbelt on and you need a seatbelt extender, then you have to pay for 2 tickets if you are overweight. And so the other change is they're going to finally do assigned seats. So right now, when you do seating, you it's first come first serve, and you got to do the check-in in advance or pay for it if you're going to do the if you're going to do the you want a better seat. And so what happened was, why they made these changes, and I didn't know this until I watched this video. And I said, "Oh my God, I can't believe this is why they're making the changes." I told you guys how I watch these videos on YouTube about police videos and all that stuff. And so I just wanted to show you guys real quick what caused Southwest Airlines to make the changes that they did. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. Okay, so here is the video. But this woman right here got into a fight, or tried to fight the woman that she had to sit next to because she was overweight. And so she did all this extraness. This is the woman who was overweight. She spit on this woman. She's shouted out obscenities and just all types of nonsense because the woman was overweight. And the woman who was overweight, if I'm not mistaken, turned around and sued the woman who was trying to fight her and Southwest Airlines. And so the only thing you're going to be able to find are clips of this fight. You're not going to be able to find the whole fight because one of the people, Leah Kay, up here, she actually posted the fight on social media and she had to take it down because it's now evidence. And this is the woman, like I said, who is fighting this woman because she didn't like the fact that the only seat she could have was next to this overweight woman. And that's why Southwest Airlines changed their policy that's going into effect in 2026. So I just wanted to let you guys know. I mean, she went straight up wild and crazy. And I never did find out particularly what the motive was, except for the woman was overweight. Like, look how crazy she's acting. And she was probably drunk too, because this looks like the behavior of somebody who's been drinking too much. And so, this all prompted the lawsuit by the woman, like I said, who was overweight. Look, they had to take her off the flight in a freaking gurney because she acted so crazy. Anyway, so I just wanted to let you guys know that is why Southwest Airlines has passed the new policy where they're going to have assigned seating starting in 2026. And if your seatbelt doesn't click, then you have to pay for 2 seats because you're overweight. I feel bad for that woman because I actually felt that way on there. So it was funny. Like my first flight, I was able to get on with the seatbelt and clicked no problem. But for some reason, when I got to the second plane, it seemed like it was smaller and everything. And so I needed a seatbelt extender. And so it was like, oh my God, this means that I'm going to be impacted by the changes that they're making. And so it made me feel a ways about flying and about traveling. And I was like, between the experience I had as far as having to pull out Google Translate in the Dominican Republic, because I assume that most people would have the basics as far as being able to speak English, and they didn't. Then the assumption that, resorts and hotels would have elevators so that they could accommodate people with disabilities, and they don't. Then this whole thing about no refund in the Dominican Republic. And then, as Funky explained in his video from yesterday, he was like that there was too much begging, and he was like that going forward, he's going to have what is it called? He's going to be looking for a higher class type of resort, which I actually appreciated because that was one of my concerns about going with this place. I said it's not typically, so the way I do it is I look I Google. Now this place does have 4.5 stars on Google, but as far as ratings, when you're what is it? When you're on Travelocity, your query, please provide the full question. So as far as when you're on Travelocity, and you're looking at the ratings of the hotels, it was maybe on the second or third page, and I usually typically stay within the first to second pages as far as resorts or places I'm going to stay. So I was like, I felt maybe I was too entitled, like I mentioned to you before. And so I was feeling bad, but I was glad after I heard Funky, speak on the vacation, that it wasn't just me. Because like I said, the the room wasn't just, it wasn't up to my standards. And I hate to say, well, maybe I'm too bougie. I don't know. I don't necessarily consider that's a lie. I do think I'm a little bougie, but I got it from my mama. And it's so funny because she when she came to stay with me, she was like that I'm more bougie than she thought. She said that I was more bougie than her. And I said, oh, honey, no. I said, I learned my bouginess from you. You are the queen bee of bougie. So, no, I'm not bougier than you. But when I told her about what happened with the manager and everything, she told me I embarrassed her. And I embarrassed our family name. And then my son said that I was dramatic. He was like, that was so dramatic. As far as me ripping up the paper, he was like, he had never heard of no stuff like that. And so, I don't know. It's just, when I reflect on this trip, I'm laughing about stuff now, but initially, I was like, I don't know if I can travel anymore. I don't know if, you know, it's in my wheelhouse to be able to do these things anymore. And so, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens, between the things that I have going on health wise, and, you know, I just don't know. Hi, everyone. This is Editor Vicky. I had one more point that I wanted to add to this video upon reflection of everything that occurred. And I don't know why I kept forgetting to put this in the video, but I really think that some of what was going on as far as my emotions and everything can be simply explained by my age. I'm in that menopause age group. And I saw this picture and I just want to share it with you guys that I thought perfectly explained what is going on with me. So let me see if I can find it. Here it is. Basically, I'm a woman over 50. This was funny. It came out for Halloween and it says, women over 50 includes a handheld fan, which I told you guys I had. I don't know what HRT is. Zero patience. I have zero patience. Extra heat, hence the fan. A BS radar, which is why I was looking at that man like this. Itchy ears. A terrible hangover after one drink. Yeah, that's me too. 5 new chin hairs. Yep, that's me. Rage, lots of rage. So, yes, this can explain possibly some of my interactions with that manager, just so you guys know. And I just wanted to share that with you. The last thing I want to share with you is, and let's see if it'll let me pull it up. Here it is. This is something funny I thought you guys would enjoy.
Brandon, what are you doing back at school? I sent you home. Wait here, kids. I tried to go home, but my mom sent me back. Dear Mr. Hill, I know that's wrong. According to the district's website, my child doesn't have to be sent home until the end of the day. I'm not the 1 or the 2, so please send my child home at 3. Try Jesus, don't try me. Patricia. Is this a riddle?
It means in the last 4 days alone, I have seen really great results.
I'm sorry that cracked me up the first time I saw it. That's from last season's episode of our season of Abbott. Anyway, thank you again for joining, and I hope you understand what I was dealing with while I was in the Dominican Republic. Okay, bye. Thank you for listening to my story. I know this was a long story. That's why I broke it up into as many parts as I did, because I didn't want to hear you guys' mouth about my story being too long. But I hope you watch all the different parts of the video, and I want to hear your feedback and your comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I really would appreciate it. I would also like to see your comments. What do you think? Have any of you been to Punta Cana? Have any of you had to deal with some of the things that I've been dealing with? And what did you do? How did you handle it? Um, my whole thing is about being 50 plus and fabulous. And I didn't necessarily feel that the trip was all that fabulous, but I did get some things done. But I know it did teach me that I need to stick with what I know or what I feel comfortable with, which is having 5 days and 4 nights. Having 4 days and 3 nights just wasn't enough. And when this hotel pissed me off, or resort pissed me off, I was like, I'm not doing another night with them, because I was ready to go home the next day after I actually got into it with the manager. I was just like so through. But let me know what you think and how you think I handled the situation and what your thoughts are. Thank you for joining me, and um, keep liking and following my story. Thank you.